Oh, hello, knitters. How are you? Today it is Thursday, May 14th. Oh, my dog. All those grunting noises. I have an 11-year-old golden retriever, and I was just sitting here calmly waiting for them to finish eating because they make a lot of noise. And then he had a big drink and he was slurping, and now he's taken to rolling himself all over the rug in the family room, so I'm not really sure when he's going to settle down. He's been outside for a long time and just came in to have his breakfast, and typically, or dinner, I guess, and typically that's a time when he calms down, but appears not to be the case today. I feel all in a kerfuffle. I had intended to podcast earlier, then I kind of was thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I thought, oh, I don't want to, if I do it tomorrow, what if something happens in the morning? I've been incredibly busy with real estate. I have a listing that is keeping me incredibly busy with showings and actually some offers. So it's not sold yet, but I hope that it's soon. And it's just been, today turned out to be a really quiet day, and like every other day this week, my neighbors are fighting in the backyard. Anyway, they're arguing about their yard. Anyway, just like every other day, the phone starts ringing and then I'm like out of control. But today was overall quieter. I've only had a few phone calls. So I thought I better stick with the plan and stick with my podcast. So I hope everyone's doing well and everybody's staying healthy and still isolating as much as you can. I know things are starting to open up, which to me feels really scary. I feel like I'm waiting for the bomb to drop. Concerned that, not so much in Ontario, because I think they're being very cautious, but I'm concerned that, some provinces and some states are opening up too quickly and people are so anxious, and rightfully so, to get back together. They're just not paying attention to the social distancing and all that sort of thing. So it concerns me, and I don't listen to the news as much as I did because I find, well, it was way too depressing. But I try to catch up a little bit every day, and it's still, it's still scary out there. And I can't really believe we're living this, but we are. So anyway, on to the things that make my world bright, which is my family and my knitting. After the last episode, I had commented about my friend Julia, who bought yarn from me and has never knit it. Actually, now I know for a fact. We've connected, and she put a few comments on the last podcast. She tried to knit it, the yarn from Sweet Georgia in China Doll. She tried to knit it and could not, because she couldn't find the appropriate pattern for it. So it got me thinking that perhaps, well, I do, and perhaps most people do, have the yarn in their stash that shall never be knit. No matter what happens, no matter how much you just love it too much to knit it and then not have it anymore. And it was something I haven't always understood, but once I realized I actually had a couple things like that myself, I realized Julia was not alone in saving her stash for special projects, and then finding that there was really no project special enough. So I dug through my stash, and a couple things. I have two yarns that I would not knit anytime soon. First is a Tannis Fiber Arts. This yarn is about 10 years old. It looks, I don't know if the color, it's called We Wear Red, and it is a color that I commissioned from Tannis when I was carrying her yarn in my store, Pickupsticks, to be a fundraiser for We Wear Red, which was in support of women's heart disease, and that was it is and was a charity close to my heart, because my mother died of heart disease, and she had all the symptoms that women have that don't get recognized as heart disease. So I did this, and we were knitting the February lady sweater, I remember, and if you purchase the yarn, the profit that I made from the yarn went to the Heart and Stroke Foundation for Women. So I have 2 skeins left. I never did finish my February lady sweaters, but I did have a few people who did support the fundraiser, and it just felt good to give some money to an organization that I really support. So anyway, so this is it. It's her green. At that time, she had green label. Her yarns were called by the label color. This is green label, and it is Paaren weight. So it was a perfect sweater weight. So I have 2 skeins left, and I don't know what I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, or if I'll ever do anything with it. It'll just be one of those things that my kids come across and say, "What was this? Why'd she hold on to this red yarn?" But it was in memory of my mother, so it meant a lot to me. So these are one of those yarns that I don't know that I'll ever come up with a project that is special enough to use them for, given that they're the last 2. And she never did make the color again. So that's that. And the other one is when I was starting, oh, her name's on here. When I was starting Pickupsticks, of course, I was on the mad hunt for hand-painted yarns. They were my favorite. And of course, looking in Canada and bringing new, my goal was to bring new dyers to the retail market so people could see them and have easy access to them. And so right at the very beginning, one of the first yarns I ordered were painted yarns by Virginia Van Santen. And she had amazing color sense. And she, before she, and then she started developing sock yarn, and it was incredible. It was incredible, and I couldn't keep it in stock. But she suddenly was diagnosed with, I think it was, might be liver or pancreatic cancer, stage 4, and she was very far along and had to stop dying. And I have kept these 3 skeins of hers and never knit them. And every time I think, oh, I should do something with those, I think, oh, what's special enough for it? Because you can't get them anymore. And she was so talented. And the most unfortunate thing was that she was just getting recognized as an indie dyer at the time. And, everything was cut short for her. And she passed away. So these are 2 of them. And it's not really my color preference at all, but to me it looks very good. And this one is called August Berries. But I talked to her about her dyeing technique, and she said that she thought of herself more as a colorist. So she didn't, so she was really painting the yarns rather than, dyeing them in a more conventional way. Or I don't know anything about dyeing, but it's just so beautiful. And then this one is called Black Knight. And they're almost priceless to me. Like, I couldn't even sell them. Like, if somebody said, I'll give you $50 a skein, I couldn't do it because they're so beautiful. And you can't get it anymore. So this one is called Black Knight. And eventually I think I can do something, a 3 skein project with this. But it has to be super special and it has to be perfect. So right now they're just perfect in their skeins. And I have one other. I think this one is called Fall Birches. And this one, again, she has the rust and the cream, and this is slightly green. And it's just her sense of color just was astounding. And when you roll them into, I had another weight of yarn of hers in my store. And when you roll it into a ball or a skein, change the skein into a ball, that's when you see the true color genius that is in this yarn. So I don't know if anybody else has any Virginia Van Santen painted yarns, but she was in Alberta, and she's one of the first companies that I bought yarn from for my store. And unfortunately she's passed, but I still have 3 skeins. And like I said, probably these 5 skeins are the 5 skeins that she'll never be knit, because there will never be anything that I think that's good enough for them. So that's that. Let me see what else. Well, my work's in progress. I actually have a finished project, so that's pretty incredible, because I've been pretty single-minded on this crochet thing, but I'm working on some knitting actually. That mojo seems to be coming back to me. So sorry. So the first thing I'm working on, I have a bunch of stuff to show you, is still my crochet granny stripe, which is growing. It's about half the size, half the length. I don't know if you can see. There, you can't see me, but it's about half the length of a twin bed, and it's the proper width for a twin bed, and I just love it. I love working on it. I love choosing the colors. There are no rhyme or reason. Here's a series of Sweet Georgia minis that are dyed in a gradient. So just going with that for a little while. Although I haven't worked on it all week, which is unusual, because it's one of those projects that you get up in the morning and you want to sit down and do it right away. You don't want to do anything else. And those projects, I mean, they come along, but sometimes they can be pretty few and far between. So, you know, when you're getting up on a Saturday at 7:30 because you can have some quiet knitting time or quiet crocheting time on your blanket, then that tells you how much you love the project. So that's one thing. And the other thing I'm working on is my Once in Floral. This has been on pause for ages. Pardon me. I tried a new location today. Do you like it? It's on my couch in the family room. I don't know. I need a whole new... My daughter says she's moving out with her boyfriend. She's going to be 22, and I think I'll take up her room and make it my podcast studio, because I don't like setting up and taking down every time, but I do. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's just a mess. And I think every podcaster says the same thing. It's a mess to podcast, because you're to go and dig out all the things you want to talk about, all the things that have arrived, all the things you finished, all the things you're working on. So, but anyway, so I've been working on my Once in Floral by, I didn't write that part down. I know he's a gentleman from Quebec, Vincent, I think. I don't have the pattern. Oh wait, I do have the pattern. It's very well written, long pattern. Probably I don't know. Of course. Oh, Maxim Sear. Everybody, I've showed this before. I'm knitting it with Annie Paaren. I think it's MCN. Yes, 80-10-10. Her base called Hampton, and this is called Hideaway. This is the main color of the body, and the yarn is fabulous to work with. So I picked this up again on the weekend, and I've added quite a bit, and I'm actually probably 5 inches from the ribbing. I tried it on, and it fits really nicely, I have to say. I'm probably 5 inches from the ribbing, and I don't know, can you see it? Yeah, and then I have to do the sleeves, but I'm determined to finish it. It's stayed on long enough, on the needles long enough, and yeah, and it's good mindless knitting round and round. It's going to turn out, I know the pattern calls for 17.5 from the armhole, but when I tried it on, it seemed like I could do less. So I think it's going to be like close to 15 inches than the ribbing. So overall, probably 17 inches, but less stockinette. So that's the yarn, and all the yarn is hers. The pink is hers. It's a hand dyed with some pink and black, and then the blue there's gray leaves for the background, same as the body, and then some blue yarn as well. I can't recall that. It's not in the bag, so I'm not sure what the color was actually, but it all came from her, and we bought it at Twist. Wendy did not participate in the exchange of money, but she was with me to help me decide. So it's a we purchase. And then the last thing I'm working on just started because I was waiting for the yarn. And I have tons of sock yarn. There's no excuse that I had to wait for this particular yarn. But the next thing I'm working on is the Water Arcade by Carolyn Bloom. Bloom Handmade. And these are crocheted circles that are attached together. And there's a crochet along or make along going on for it right now. And I was concerned because I was waiting for yarn from Chelsea Yarns, and it hadn't come. It took a long time to get here, longer than normal, because I think you're either eating your feelings or you're buying your feelings. I read that on Facebook, and it's really true. I think I wake up, I'm like, okay, today I'm going to eat my feelings, and today I'm going to buy my feelings. So I had a bunch of packages lined up. It's stuck in the mail from Christina. So this yarn came, and what I'm doing, I'll show you the yarn, even though it's in acquisitions. This yarn came yesterday, and this is her Macaron collection. So they're all dyed the color of I call them macarons. I don't know. I always thought they were macaroons, but I think there's something different. Anyway, they're just beautiful, soft colors, and she has dyed them on her sock base, and they are called the Macaron collection. And I saw them, I fell in love with them. I didn't care about the US dollar. It had no impact on my decision making. I had to have them immediately, and she sold them in a kit. Not a kit actually, but that's because I'm working on one I could hardly wait to cast on. She sold them with, or I bought a skein of her mohair silk in First Snow. And I'm I'm crocheting my little circles, and I'm holding mohair with it. So when I go to join them, I don't want to use mohair for that. So I actually have to send a message to Carolyn and ask her, because what I'm thinking is, I'll just get the DK in First Snow and attach them all together, because they are coming out slightly bigger than if they were just in fingering, and I'm using a bigger hook than the pattern calls for as well. So this one's a little wonky. It's the first one I did, but I can't tear it out because it's impossible with the mohair. So it's just going to be worked in there somehow. And I've started my second, and it's going better. I shouldn't have started it last night because I was tired, but you can see this one is looking a little more better tension. So I should have probably just did one just with plain leftover fingering, just to get the whole idea cemented in my mind. But anyways, I started this morning before, while I was having my coffee, and I really do like it. Don't mind my nails, because I'm like everybody else. No haircut, no nails, no waxing, no like chin hairs. So embarrassing. I said, you spent, I don't know, and then you like end up growing a beard like a man. I don't know, and you're fit. It's coming up to 60 now, so I'm missing my girl at Perfect Pinky. And I guess that I really am missing that. I didn't realize how much I just enjoyed that time. I really like the person who does my nails and does my waxing. I had to shave my legs, God forbid. I was really worried they were going to get picky, but so far so good. And I highly recommend waxing your legs. It's painful, but it's well worth the pain. I've been trying to convince my daughter to do it because it's so much easier, it lasts longer, and the hair eventually you stop growing less hair on your legs. And I found that even now with shaving, less hair is growing in. It's not picky. I suppose if I have to carry on shaving, that's all going to come back to haunt me. But hopefully those are one of the things that may open up. My dog needs grooming. Yesterday, though, I got my car washed, which I have been dying to do. We have a car wash in Newmarket called the Car Wash Company, and they do the interior and the exterior, dry it. It comes out looking like a brand new car for like $30. It's a great deal. And I typically, because the car's pretty new, I like to keep it looking new. So this was the first time in a long time since before Christmas that I could go. And they had it all sorted out that you didn't go in the building to pay. They had the paying outside. It was all tap. You waited outside for your car. So it was really well organized, different than we're used to, but it just felt good to do something normal, like get a car wash and not have to line up in the grocery store. I mean, I had a mask on, and but it was like, it was just felt so good to do something normal, and it was a nice sunny day. Today's a little bit dull, but still no rain, so that's a good thing. So anyways, I digress, like normal. So these are my little beginning of my water arcade, and I have to get back online after I talk to the designer and see if I need the DK to join them together, because I don't want the mohair to be in the joins. I wasn't crazy about the mohair. I just am worried about mohair, how next to my skin, how's that gonna feel? But I started just like going like this, and it's so soothing. I thought, well, you know, it's kind of meditative. Even if you were having a bad day, you can just touch the circles. So anyway, I don't know. I'm probably making no sense at all. But anyways, these are the beginning of them, and I love them. They're very cute. And as a surprise from Christina, which was so unexpected and so appreciated, is this little Chelsea Luxe notions. I guess it's a notions pouch. And I was actually thinking about, I need a bigger notions pouch than what I had, because I have a lot of notions. And I'm not one that can put like a separate package of notions in every bag, every project bag. So thank you so much, Christina. Mwah. I was, it really brightened my day, and it was so nice of you to include that for me and in your signature rose gold. It's just stunning, and I'm so happy. I was using it for the little circles, but I think I'm gonna switch my notions out of a smaller notions pouch that I have and put everything together in here, and then this is the pouch that will go from bag to bag to bag. So, but that was a little surprise, and I thought it was awesome. So what else? Oh, finished object. Got sidetracked there. This was supposed to be, oh no, that was a work in progress. So I've only one measly little finished project, but they are my socks from Loco. This is the first chicken, the first 2020 chicken. I forget what the name of the chicken is, but I enjoyed making these as much as I enjoyed making the last pair before Christmas that I made for my son-in-law in the same yarn. No, what is he? Brother-in-law in the same yarn. So it just is a really nice yarn. They smelled like pineapple. I used pineapple soak. And they block out beautifully. And even the striping came out pretty similar for both socks. It's not identical, but it's okay. And her little contrasting heel and toe, I put ribbing and a stripe, and then the toe I did a little bit of the peachy color, then the mauve, and then more peachy. So included the stripe, and then the heel was the same, and I have tons of yarn left over. This was the Phyllis, her Phyllis base. I have tons of yarn that will be added into my blanket in any future crochet endeavor, or I bet you I definitely would have enough to knit another pair of probably shorties for sure, which is excellent value for your money. I still haven't gotten the last rooster because shipping is it can be quite expensive just for one thing. So I'm just waiting until there's more that I want from Hue Loco so I can spend more money and thereby reducing my shipping costs. It's ridiculous, really. So these are Emily's favorite socks, and I changed the pattern. These are a 64 stitch. The ones I did at Christmas were 72 stitch for a man. And I didn't have any problem making that adjustment at all. So just a little bit of fiddling. So I had them each ending on each side of the front of the foot, each ending with a purl to make it continue, that pattern continuous from the foot here up until, so it joined up with a line up there. So anyway, they were really, really nice. My husband said, who are they for? And I said, I have no idea. I like to have them so that if somebody has something, I think that they're a great, meaningful gift. So, and if I give someone a pair of socks as a gift, typically I give it to them as a way of comforting them, because there's nothing like a homemade sock. But I do have people who like to wear them on a regular basis. My own daughter really loves homemade socks, and she'll choose those over store-bought anytime. So they may go to her, they may not. She has a bad habit of losing socks, and that's my concern with her. But so that's them. Sorry. So acquisitions. Well, there's been no shortage of that. There's been lots of hiding. I call them presents coming from the post office. Sent my daughter the other day, and she's going, when she got home, I said, are there any presents? She's like, presents? What are you talking about? You don't get presents. I go, you buy this stuff. I was like, well, I know, but it feels like a present when it gets here. And it doesn't really matter who spent the money on it. So one of the first things that came since I podcasted the last time is, I have been looking at these needles. This is a set of needles from a company called Seeknit in Japan. And the only place I've ever seen them online is at Needles in the Hay in Peterborough. And I hummed and hawed about them, and ultimately decided I was going to go for it. So, for a couple reasons. One, they're bamboo, and I typically knit with metal, but I was having some trouble with linen on the metal being too slippery, so I wanted to try some bamboo for that. And then because last time I told you I got the interchangeable Chow-Goo, this was a really beautiful set of interchangeable needles from, what size? I can't see. Well, with my glasses on, I can't. From 2.5 to 6 millimeter. And somewhere right here in the back, it has a little pocket, and that's where all the cords are. And there's a lot of cords that come with it. And some of the cords don't fit on all, there's a tiny, tiny little cord for the 2.5 millimeter. And so not all the cords fit on all the needles. And they also have these beautiful holders that you could hold your stitches on the needle with, these little balls with the little screw at the end that screws into the interchangeable needle. But I'll get a big one because it shows better. This is it's just gorgeous, so beautifully done, and the construction, putting them together and everything, is just so immaculate. What really got me on them, well, lots of things got me. Look how pretty. It's hard to, but what really got me, because I've never had great success with interchangeables because they come unscrewed, and I don't know if that's the way I knit or that's just something that happens with some of them. But what about these ones, when you screw them in to a cord, these cords rotate on the where you tap, what's this called? The join rotates on the cord. So that you technically, it's the way my mind works, I think you could never untangle them because this is stationary if they actually fit it together. And then you wouldn't be changing this, and this would be the thing that's doing the changing, this. So that's why I bought them, because I think they might work better for me as an interchangeable set, but I don't know. They're new. I've never seen them before. They do sell single ones also in the store, and it's Needles in the Hay. I'll add everything below. And the company's called Seeknit, and this is their full interchangeable set. But they do also have fixed singles that you can purchase from Needles in the Hay as well. So, and I just love it. Such beautiful. The package or the little pouch they've created for it is just so gorgeous, and the fabric's beautiful and typical Japanese aesthetic. It's just clean and gorgeous. So that I'm going to be using for a cast on that I have planned. Well, 2 of them actually. But this came, I'll do it together. Sorry for the crinkling. But Christina from Chelsea Yarns, I'm a big fan of hers. Had someone, Shayna Baloo, design a sweater for the shop using her new yarn, which is a superwash merino linen blend. And I don't know if the picture's not that great, but it's a really cute little top. And I thought it was so cute. I wanted to do it and wanted to do it in her confetti colorway. So this is it. And I think if you look closely, you can see the halo from the linen. It's just, and it's so soft. I can't wait to see what it knits like. And it's a fingering weight. So, and there it is. Chelsea Luxe and pink confetti. So I have the yarn to do that. And look at me, I'm gonna put the pattern in the bag so I'm all organized. May not stay there, but you never know. Have to be careful how I store these things. So I reorganized my stash, and even my daughter was like, "You have a lot." I was like, "Yeah, I do." That's okay. So that's those 2 things. So also, Sandy by the Lakeside had an update of her beautiful bags. And I really wanted to get the quilted one, but by the time I got on, they were all sold out and I wasn't on time. But I got this one with the horses, and it has a beautiful gingham lining on the inside and a navy leather pull, little fringy pull. And we have a horse, actually. My daughter, we've had horses had horses for some time. Both my daughters were riders, rode, and both had their own horses. My oldest daughter's horse is gone now. He's old and passed away. But my daughter has a horse. So anything horse, I'm always attracted to anything horsey. And I really loved it. And I love Sandy's bags because she does such great quality work. And she's Canadian. And then I've always wanted, another Buy Your Feelings Day, these little rose gold scissors from her. I don't even know. This looks like a stork. And my daughter said, well, she was there when I opened it, and she was like, "You're out of control." Because clearly I have many scissors, but none as lovely as these, and nothing as sharp as these. And I, of course, then had to purchase her little scissor cover that has the embossed scissors in the leather in her light blue. And then this, and they're quite pointy, so everything's protected. And I've been using them for a couple days, and I really, really like them. So hence I needed the bigger Notions pouch. So I was going to use this for a Notions pouch from Sandy until the one came from Christina, but now this will be perfect for socks. So I'll use this as a sock one. Okay, what else now? Well, I might as well stay on the Chelsea Yarns train. I am addicted to minis. And I actually have a big set of 25 minis coming from Nice and Knit. I can't wait to get them. I don't know what. Well, I don't know. I want to do everything. So this set of minis came. I ordered this April 3rd, and it just came like last week at the end of the week. So it took a good long time to come here. Well worth the wait though. And these minis I purchased to do Blanket of Calm, which is the crocheted granny squares that you attach together. So they're in Christina's colorways. This is Cranberry Cream Pie. And I love the yarn she uses. And I think she's just brilliant when it comes to her colorways. This is egg speckles. But they're just... So what I do when I'm working on these little pieces for crochet is I just wind up a couple, and I do as many of those pieces as I can get out of one. And then that'll help me calculate how many I need to have to do them all. But I have other, like I have pink peony left over from socks. So there's other colors that I could add in to make up if I don't have enough. And likewise with the Water Arcade, although I think I may just order another set of those minis from Christina if I need them, depending on, I want to do the blanket size. So I'm not even sure how many I need, but I think it's quite a lot. So these are the rainbow minis that came from Christina. And well, she's my new BFF. I met her at the Knitting Loft, and her and Meg and Sandy by the Lakeside, they're all my 3 new best friends. So I try to support Christina as much as I can, and I just love her podcast. She's as nice as she appears on her podcast, she's equally that sweet. And I love Red Bank Mike. I'm a really big collector of any of the big kahunas that he happens to put together, and I happen to find online at the time that they're listed. And then Sandy by the Lakeside is so lovely, exactly like she appears, just a lovely, warm being, and such a nice person to be around. Great sense of humor, and just as sweet as she appears on her podcast. And then Meg from Wool and Cookies is, I admire her so much, what she's doing with her kids. I follow her Instagram and what she's doing with her kids every day during the quarantine. And all the things that she's finding to keep them busy. And her part of the world in Michigan looks fantastic. And I think it's vacation worthy, actually. Maybe even at Meg's house, if she'll have me. Because it looks like there's a lot of great things happening in that house. Lots of home baking, lots of knitting. Kids look cute. Anyway, so those 3, I really try to support as much as I can. And also, of course, the Knitting Loft, because that's my LYS. That's an hour away. So not exactly local, but worth the drive. And then the last thing, this is a future cast on because I have other things. I'm going to be casting on Breath and Hope from Casapinka. And then, of course, after, I think I just had ordered the Macaron set, and the very next day, Christina posted this, and I had to have it. And she's like, oh, I just mailed your package yesterday. I said, I don't care. I have to have it. And this is mint chocolate chip and pink confetti. And I wanted something as close to the pattern colors, the original pattern colors, as I could get. And this really struck me. And here's the pattern by Casapinka. I noticed on Instagram that she's working on another really beautiful shawl pattern. I think I could literally just knit her shawls, actually, because she has some really amazing ones. She's done some for other dyers too. Oh, Miss Babs, she did a really great one for that. And I look, she's working on another multiple color one now, and it's really great. So that's Casapinka, Breath and Hope. Probably already a lot of people have heard about these. This was an LYS promotion, was free if you purchased the yarn. So I know the Knitting Loft did it. If you purchased the yarn from them, you got the pattern for free. And I got the pattern for free from Christina because I had purchased the yarn from there. So that was the nice little treat. And it was a way too of her supporting the local yarn stores. And it became such a huge thing. Like, I think there was like, I don't even know, 40,000 codes that she had for this pattern that had to be distributed to the yarn store owners to then be redistributed to the people who bought the pattern. So it was a huge undertaking for Casapinka. And I think it's such a great thing when makers support each other to the best of their ability. And yeah, so it was not supposed to be such a big thing, but it turned into be a really big thing, which was awesome for the stores, and awesome for us knitters too. So I'm getting Instagram posts. Anyway, so I did those. So did you know Cozy Posy has a sock yarn, or has sock club? She just released on her Instagram. You can, it's Lavender and Larkspur, I think, or Larkspur and Lavender is the first one for May. I just got notification that it shipped yesterday, so I'll have it for my next podcast. I love Cozy Posy, is another indie dyer that I absolutely love. She's Canadian. I don't think she lives far. Like, I could probably visit her and knit with her if I wanted. She's just amazing. Antonella is her name, and she's the one, this is the yarn that I'm using for our knit along that we're starting tomorrow. And this is called Graffiti Girl, and I'm using the Floof. I showed it last time. The Floof and the, oh, she has cashmere in here too, I know. And 70-20, so 70 merino, 20 cashmere, 10 nylon. So those two are going together, and they're going to be the knit along we're doing with the Knitting Loft and my other knitting friends, not just the Knitting Loft people, but is the Love Note sweater, which I've long coveted, and it's supposed to be a quick knit. There's a few I think you can make some options. You can make it longer, quite cropped, or you can have it long sleeved or short sleeved. So none of those decisions I've actually made yet, but we intend to cast that on tomorrow, and I intend to use my new bamboo needles. So I hope that works out. If you check TKL Squad on Facebook, or TKL Squad on Facebook, or Making History is one of the groups that they have going, for whatever you wanted to crochet, or whatever you wanted to make during this time. Nothing specific, but just a way to mark this particular occasion we find ourselves in with some special knitting, which is why I started my crochet blanket. There's a link there. To whether or not you want to join in on a cast on, everybody cast on together. Facebook has a new platform where you can actually have a messenger room, and you can have more than one person online at the same time. So you can check that out at TKL Squad or Making History. I don't know what else is. If you search Making History or TKL Squad, you'll come up with it. The most recent post will have some information about the messenger and how to join that group, and if you want to be part of the virtual cast on together. Now since I learned just today about these new messenger rooms, I think that's what I'm going to use for the In Stitches podcast, virtual tours. I haven't got it all set up yet, but when I do, I will post it on the In Stitches podcast Instagram, so you have the information about where to find that and how to join. I'm not sure about all this stuff myself, but I'm trying. And at least this time is also giving me time to try and improve my technical skills. So, but I think that would be a way that you can keep the group private, but you can invite people however you want. So, I think that might be something that works better than Zoom at this time for the people who want to participate on a weekly basis in some kind of virtual knitting time, which is really fun. I actually really like it. I like just, having my knitting, listening to everybody else, having, things to say or whatever. It's just a really relaxing time, a long way from being in the same room with everyone, but still a good use of time. So that information will be below about the knit along for what is it? Love Note and TKL Squad on Facebook. You can, if you search that, you'll find the Facebook group for TKL. And then what else did I have? I think that might be it. I think that is. So I have to wind these tonight because I want to start tomorrow. I think it's set for 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So that's always fun to do that together. Just looking at my notes here. So I got interrupted when I was making the notes, but I think that's about it. I'm at almost 50 minutes. So I thank you so much for taking the time to spend your time with me like this. Like I said, I'm in a kerfuffle. I'm not feeling 100% myself today, but I was happy to talk to you, and I hope that I said something interesting to somebody. And again, please subscribe if you like what you're seeing, or so then you get notified when there is a new podcast available for you to watch. And I have good news. Wendy is doing really well, and she's going back to work half-time in beginning of June, and we don't know how, but we're going to figure out how to podcast together from different locations because of all the quarantine and all of that. So that's really good. So probably the next podcast you see from In Stitches podcast will include the original 2 people, me, myself, and Wendy, which I'm so excited to be back with her. Oops, excuse me, because she has much more organized about this than I am. So anyways, stay safe, stay strong, stay well, and thank you for watching. Till next time, bye.